So I had a friend recommend me On Guard by saying it was a Sifu like. And personally, I think Sifu is one of the better games ever. Like I love that game. So that made my expectations quite high for On Guard when he made that comparison. But he was right. Like the game is very, very good, dude. I cannot recommend it enough. It's a
Here, buddy.
Sifu like, but it has its own twist on that type of gameplay. And you mix that with just you can just see the personality constantly oozing out of the game. Dude, I cannot recommend the game enough.
You a bottle of laughs.
I'm on a roll.
So, On Guard is a hack and slash action adventure game made by Fireplace Games. It was made back in 2023, so it's not exactly a new game. But Fireplace Games actually has quite a unique story that I want to tell you. Originally, On Guard was just supposed to be a graduation project made by 8 people, and then they were going to get their degree, and that's it. That's supposed to be the end of On Guard. But instead, they made On Guard through that graduation project. It's like a prototype. They won some awards on it, and they all go out and get their degrees and whatnot, get a job for a couple years. Then, for one reason or another, they all came back together and founded Fireplace Games in 2020 with the goal in mind of taking that prototype game they made in college and then commercializing it and dropping it on Steam. So around 2020, they made Fireplace Games. They founded the studio, and they took 3 years to polish up that prototype. And dude, it slaps. So let's start with the gameplay for On Guard, because that is very much where the magic is in the game. It's definitely got a Sifu feel and look to it, but instead of using your hands, you're going to be using a sword for fencing instead of Kung Fu. And the combat doesn't do anything that you haven't seen before. It's got your standard parry, it's got a dodge, and that's not why it's special though. What makes it special is how everything just flows together, and it's so addicting. The gameplay loop is so nice. The main thing you're going to be doing in combat is breaking an enemy's guard if they have a guard. And there's a couple ways you can go about breaking a guard. You can either parry someone, you can either dodge to open them up to then attack and then kick, and that will inevitably break their guard. And the kicks are kind of like, you can like push them into environment stuff. So like you can push them into a weapon rack, or you can push them into water, for example. And that's going to either nullify them or break their guard. And you can also use loose objects around in the environment to break their guard. So for example, there's a pretty funny one actually. This is where you see the personality oozing out of the game. Is you can grab a damn bucket and just chuck it at somebody, and it's on their head. They're literally just walking around with a bucket on their head. You're just huss, just hitting them on the head over and over again with a sword. The combat also does a really good job at keeping you on your toes, because there is a good amount of enemy archetypes here, and one of them is your base grunt. They call him a lackey, and I'm gonna be honest, you do everyone like you just go up to him, spam X if you want to. You can go up and kick him. You do whatever you want to him, but the main thing he's gonna be doing is filling up your panache meter. So now you might be thinking, well, what the hell is a panache meter? Panache meter is gonna be your way to do special attacks essentially. So you're gonna fill it up by taking out enemies, throwing items at enemies, kicking people.
This game is actually
just playing
good.
the game. You're going
Holy
to fill this
crap,
meter
dude.
up, and then when you fill it up, that's when you can do these special attacks
The
that
combat
are
is actually
unblockable,
peak.
and they're going to act like kind of like kill shots. You could think of them that way. And you got 3 of them. One is called a secret attack. It's like a lunging stab, and you're focusing on one guy essentially. You're focusing on one guy, and you want to break his guard specifically. It can be really good when there's just one archetype that is annoying the hell out of you, and you're like, all right, I'm done with you, I'm getting rid of you. There's a second one called the tornado strike. This is more of a AoE around you, so you're gonna do like a sweeping strike that will hit everybody in your vicinity. It's very nice when you get like 3-4 enemies just on top of you. There's one more called a surprise kick. This is basically used to just send people flying across the environment. Okay, you just send them flying across the room. And it's really good because it breaks their guard instantly. Like it's a guaranteed, I'm breaking your guard and I'm sending you flying. It's really good on soldiers. Soldiers are more difficult to take out than lackeys simply because they have multiple hit points, which you can just kind of think of as multiple lives. Meaning you're going to have to break their guard multiple times to get rid of them. And that's why a surprise kick would be very nice to have against them, because you just take their guard out real quick, hit them a couple times, one life gone, essentially. It's very nice to deal with them having multiple lives. Them having multiple lives can be a little annoying when you have multiple soldiers or multiple other enemies around you mixed in there. Then you have captains, which they are unique. No other archetype is really like them too much. For example, you can't just go up and hit them like that. You can't do that to a captain. You have to break their shield. So for a lackey and a soldier, you can just go up to them without really thinking at all and just start hitting them, and it will do damage to them essentially. For captains, no. You cannot do that. They're just going to shrug it off and throw you backwards. So in order for you to do that, you have to break their guard either by throwing things at them, like I mentioned earlier, or you have to dodge and then kick them and break their guard that way. You can think of them as a brute enemy in other video games. That's their purpose. But there's these other enemies called duelists, which are like captains where they have like a shield to them, which is their guard, essentially. And they're more difficult to deal with because if you hit them and their guard goes down, it's good, right? You have to keep the pressure on them, because if you don't keep the pressure on them, their guard is going to fully recover and you have to redo all that progress. So you constantly have to be tagging at them. And then on top of that, these enemies can be quite a pain in the ass. You have to constantly be hitting them, and they're going to be trying to hit you back, right? And you have to parry them or dodge them. And say you miss input, you dodge when you're supposed to parry, that will give them their guard completely replenished. That can get quite frustrating when you have like 3 of them. You broke all their guards somewhat down, and then you mess up an input, and they're just right back to full guard. Now, you mix all of those enemy archetypes with these other enemies called grenadiers, which are basically the ranged enemies in the game. They are just going to throw bombs at you like it's Afghanistan constantly. And these bombs are quite annoying. So they're going to throw bombs. It's going to have this big-ass AoE ring around, okay? And if you sit there, you take damage. The thing that becomes quite annoying with them is you're going to want to get rid of them, obviously. So you run up to them to take them out, and they had this it's a rage bait. They just throw a smoke bomb and they're like, hee, and they run away again. So then you have to chase them down, and then they potentially will do the smoke bomb thing again. So really, your best way of taking them out is grab something, throw it at them, go over, kick them, and replenishes. Well, say you're fighting this guy, grenade out, they lands by your feet, and his guard's mostly low. Well, you have to get out of there now before you take damage. You could die. So you leave. This guy's guard is now fully back because you had to leave. And you mix that in with a bunch of other enemies, it becomes very challenging. You have to do a lot of crowd control, so to speak. So those guys make your life a nightmare. So you mix all these things together, all this archetypes, all the gameplay feel, the audio, all this. You get some of the most engaging combat you can just find. Like, I swear, I'm sitting there playing the game, and in my mind, I'm thinking, this game has no business being this good at all. Then on top of all of that, you have a story that it's not super in-depth or crazy, but it has such a personality and charm to it. You can tell when you're playing that they're not taking it that serious. Like, there's instances where they're going to inject humor into the game, and it's just very obvious that the story is not the focal point. It's not what they were really trying to hit a home run on, but it's just so, you can tell they were having fun. Like, when you're sitting there playing a game and you see some story dialogue going on or some set pieces, you're like, dude, they were having fun. Like, you just sense the passion that this game has, which is very nice to see, because there is sometimes you're just playing a AAA game and it's just soulless, lifeless. I'm looking at you, Suicide Squad. I'm looking at you, Concord. Like, it's just a money grab. But this game is just oozing with just, I know they were having a fun time when making this game.
Admit your defeat.
No!
There was, for example, when I was playing, I threw a bucket at somebody's head, and then I took them out, right? And when the enemy's on the ground, they'll sometimes say some dialogue. It's just like these little details. He says a line, but it's like muffled with the helmet on his head, and the line was funny. It's little things like that that really just caught my eye when I was playing the game.
That's actually cool. They muffled his voice because of that.
The only thing that I can really critique about the game is it is quite short. Like, it's only 4 hours ish long. There's only 4 episodes in the main story, so there's not a whole lot of main story content. They do offer an arena mode where you can just run through the combat. Like, there's, I think, 4 different tiers on the arena mode, and it's like your typical, here's some modifiers to spice up the gameplay. Enemies will do this, do more damage to you during this time, and then you get a buff in some way. So it has a little more content, but it's really not a lot. That's just the main gripe with the game, is there's not a whole lot of content. But dude, the feel of the game is so good. The experience I got from On Guard is one of the prime reasons why I love trying out these smaller indie games you can find on Steam that are like $5, $10, $3 sometimes. Like, dude, there's no reason this small little indie game should have combat that is this good. Like, there's no reason some small indie game like this should compete with the big dogs at all. So, ever since On Guard dropped, Fireplace Games hasn't really said anything though, which is kind of unfortunate because, dude, this game is way too good for a first title, and they haven't said anything. So I don't know if they're cooking up something new. God forbid the studio has closed, because there's been all types of studio closures going on recently in the game space. So either way though, dude, I'm keeping my eye on them because I cannot wait to see what they pump out next, and I cannot recommend On Guard enough. If you've played On Guard, let me know what you think of the game down in the comments below, because I mean, it has been out for a little while. If not, dude, what are you doing? Go treat yourself. But I'll be down there if you want to yap it up about On Guard. But that's about it for the video. If you made it to this point, I appreciate you being here, and have a good one.